Good morning, sports fans. Lincoln, Logan County. Beautiful Saturday morning here at the Christian Village. You're in the cheap seats. Scott Kirby, Jake Johnston just sat down here, running a little behind today.
What do you mean running a little behind?
You ran in here and threw the headset on and let's go.
I wasn't fashionably late if I'm not late, right?
That's, hey, better late than never. We are at the newly remodeled and completely updated Christian Village, and it is Lincoln's only faith-based retirement community and is the area's leader for independent, assisted, and skilled senior living and health care services, including dementia care. The Christian Village provides quality, compassionate care in a loving Christian environment, offering a wide array of living options for older adults, such as independent living, rehabilitation, skilled nursing, and memory care. The Christian Village is located at 1507 7th Street here in Lincoln. For a private consultation and the tour of their campus, please phone Kara at 217-732-2189. The Christian Village in Lincoln, a community compassion. Well, Jake, the sports is it's starting to pick up a little bit now. We had some preseason football going on Thursday night, last night. A big baseball series down in St. Louis with the Cubs and the Cards. We will talk a lot about that today.
Really?
After a 3-0 shutout by the Cubbies.
Just a shellacking, wasn't it?
Who, I don't even know anybody on the team anymore but Darwin Barney, and there's like 2 or 3 of them that started the season with them. And, you know.
Why not?
Yeah, so we'll talk a little baseball. We're going to talk a lot of football. We have chaplain Ryan Edgecombe. He's going to be coming in with us here after the break.
Very nice.
He is the chaplain here at the Christian Village, and he's a big sports fan. He's got his Cardinal shirt on, supporting them today. So we'll get to his baseball knowledge, and we'll go from there. But did you watch the game last night?
I tried to keep it off as much as possible. It was not pretty for me.
It wasn't.
And, you know, the Cardinals are playing that way right now. They're just brutal.
Yeah, they looked brutal last night.
I think, let's see, swept by Atlanta, 4 out of 5 against Pittsburgh. They lost 3 out of 4 against L.A. They beat one of the best pitchers in baseball, but then they drop it against everybody else, and now they lose the opener against the Cubs, which, I mean, is going to happen. You're going to lose a few games to every team, but what in the world, man? They're kind of on a downward spiral right now.
Yeah,
it's almost run out of control. They're still up in the wild card, I believe, by about 3.5 games. So they're, you know, I guess that's one thing to look at. But man, they're making it awfully easy on Pittsburgh.
Yeah, they are, and you know that's not usually what the Cardinals do. Usually they're hitting their hot spot this time of year, you know, and that's when they usually start playing their best ball. But
I'm thinking it has a lot to do with Molina being gone, and you know that's looks like it's going to be him coming back here soon. So we'll see. But boy, we're needing some reinforcements or something right now.
Yeah, I flipped it on and off between that and the Bears game. We'll talk a little Bears later on in the show.
The Bears had a game?
They played last night.
There was a few football games last night. It was kind of
fun,
wasn't it?
It felt great. You know, turn on TV, and it wasn't in HD, which, you know, it makes a big difference. It's the Bears network. It was on Fox. So the picture was kind of not what we're used to seeing, but you know what? It was football.
It was football. Well, it was kind of football.
Well, yeah.
I'm not going to lie. Preseason football, especially that first game, that's brutal.
Yeah, it is.
Horrible. Well, you get that first series out of the way, and all of a sudden, okay, there's no more Jay Cutler. Well, there's really not an offensive line anymore. And your defensive line are made up from guys that are up from the third deck of the stadium. It's just brutal.
Yeah, it is, but but it's football. And it's nice to see some of these kids. You don't know who they are, and you're not going to see them again. Ever. But just to see them fighting for a spot and then, you know, trying to make the team.
I think the last quarterback, actually, as soon as the game was over, he stopped and went picked up his job at McDonald's, I think.
Blanchard? Well, I tell you, he didn't look too bad last night, really. And
no, for a young, well, that's it, though. For a young guy, maybe a third-string quarterback, maybe not, maybe a practice squad even. Yeah,
that's what he was last year, a practice squad. But
that's who he's facing also. That's the defense he's facing, is practice squad, basically. Right. So you can say he didn't look bad, but what did he throw, like 2 picks for 6?
I know he threw one. I think there was only one, but yeah, it's just so hard to judge.
Yeah,
preseason. Just, you don't know, but
it's fun to get the juices going again. Maybe see a couple plays, but you're not going to see anything really.
Right, we'll get more of that later. We'll talk a little bit about the game last night, how it unfolded, how it started. I know there's a lot of Bears fans out there saying, "Uh-oh, here we go again," but it is preseason. We'll get into more detail on that later. But now let's stick with baseball. You said the Cardinals were 3 games up in the wild card. Right now they are 4 games behind Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
And man, Pittsburgh, I know we talk about it about every week when they're going to fold, and they're not. They're hanging up there. They're 25 games over 500. With how many games left? There's only probably 40 some games left.
Maybe about. Let's see, 70, 100. Yeah.
I'm not doing the math.
You're right in there.
About 40 games.
Yep.
So they're going to have to just really fall apart to not finish over 500, which they haven't done in the past, 19, 20 years? They haven't finished over 500.
Yeah, they only need, about 12 more wins, and they'll be above 500.
Yeah. So Pittsburgh staying right up in there. I don't know if I think
Atlanta. You want to talk about a team that's on fire.
Yeah.
I think they're 14 straight now.
Yeah, and they've just that division, they have that wrapped up. I think the magic number now is 14.
You're absolutely right.
In August, and that's just unheard of. And
yeah.
Maybe I think it was 14. But
well, they're
15 and a half games up on Washington.
They're running away with that. That, to be honest, you look at that division, it's probably the worst division it is the worst division in the National League. It may be one of the worst. It may be the worst division of baseball right now. But Atlanta's just they're feasting on it, man, and that's what you got to do when you're playing the bad teams. Whoop them.
Yeah.
And they whooped on the Cardinals too. So, and by the standings, you can't say they're a bad team right now. But goodness, man, they're just steamrolling right now. They're hitting the heck out of the ball. They're pitching really well after their ace went down, and they're still going strong. So,
and they didn't really. Didn't he pick anybody up to replace him? Did they just kind of plug somebody else in?
Yep. Nope. They just, like I said, they're just steamrolling, man. They're hot as can be. So, and that moment goes out to a friend of mine, Justin Schmidt. Thanks for texting in.
Was he a Braves fan?
A big Braves fan.
Yeah, I got a friend at work as a big Braves fan, and
he was accused of being a Cubs, acting just like a Cubs fan the other day. So he's pretty proud right now, which nothing wrong with that. If you're a Braves fan right now or a Dodgers fan, it's a good time to be proud.
Yeah, the Dodgers, they're 5.5 up on Arizona, 13 above Colorado, and they just left St. Louis. And did they take that series?
Oh yeah, they won 3 out of 4, I believe. And like I said, we beat Kershaw, and that was the only thing we could do. Yeah. I mean, my goodness, they steamrolled us too. So. But I think Cardinals are just kind of in a funk right now. They're kind of searching for their identity. Their leader's not as hurt on the bench right now. I think it's really starting to show how much it hurts.
And how long is Molina out?
I believe he'll be back middle of next week. So, okay. And he's been doing some baseball activities, so the knee must be better because if your knee is still hurting at all, you don't start doing baseball activities.
Well, yeah, especially being a catcher. Yeah. I mean, that's the last place you want to be if your knees are
right.
Squatting down like that. And
they're going to have to do something about him moving forward because there's no way for the rest of the year they're going to be able – because once you have that knee injury, it's going to creep up.
Right.
And they're going to have to give him some extra days off here and there, maybe give him some extra innings even towards the end of a couple games. They're going to have to be smart about it with him.
Well, they might be putting themselves in a position where they're not allowed to do that. If they get too far behind, you have to play your big dogs. And,
But at the same time, he is your franchise player right now.
Right, yeah.
So
that's true. Well, up in the American League, the Boston Red Sox, 2 games above Tampa Bay. Baltimore, 4.5 back. And the Yankees, they just keep falling. They got A-Rod back for who knows how long.
He had a good ovation last night.
Yeah, a little mixed, wasn't it?
Yeah, a little bit mixed, but I'd say 3/4 of the fans were standing on their feet giving him an ovation. So, it was a little mixed, but I guess people still support a overpaid guy that cheats.
Well, it's... I mean, we've talked about this, and we've looked at both sides,
Yeah, oh, yeah.
And, he's cheating, trying to make himself better and to win, but On the other hand, it is cheating, and not everybody else is doing it.
And for A-Rod, he's on the Yankees, which is whatever you want to call them, but the evil empire has been mentioned a few times, and then he's the highest paid player. Yeah. So you put those two things together, and that's why you get that mixed bag, and why other teams are envious of them. And, us fans look at A-Rod being the highest paid player and a little bit envious of that, too. Okay. So
now, do you think if A-Rod was on another team, let's say he was on the Minnesota Twins, do you think this would be such a big issue? Or is it because he's in the limelight, they're trying to set an example, make an example of him for other players just because he does play for the Yankees? And the Yankees, that's Derek Jeter's team.
Absolutely. You know what? Not as much as what it is. I don't think so. Because if you're on another team, like you said, you're not in the limelight. You're not in the big city. You're not in the overanalyzed area like he is. But he is also the highest paid player, or I believe he still is the highest paid player in baseball.
He's probably already almost made $1 billion. Just some of those.
With all the endorsements and everything, absolutely. Well, and it sounds like he's a pretty intelligent guy, so
yeah, he's not hurting for money.
No. So yeah, I'd say yeah, him being in New York makes a big difference compared to Minnesota or Cleveland or Cincinnati, any of those central teams basically, other than the White Sox. But again, he's also a very high caliber athlete, which has all the Hall of Fame numbers. I mean, everything shows that he'll be in the Hall of Fame, and how you will vote for that will be another story. But to be honest, for him, I think he cares more about the money than he does that. So.
Right. Well, because if he didn't, he's going to probably lose about $34 million if he sets out next year.
Oh yeah,
instead of just taking taking it and taking the suspension, which was all next year and about 40 some games this year.
Well, and
he's fighting it.
Yeah, well, they're going to have an arbitrator involved, and I don't know. I think they're going to get that number cut in half. They were saying 211 games. I'm thinking they're going to cut that in half. I think it's going to be 100 games, just like what the players have negotiated in their contract. It was 50 games for the first one, 100 games for the second one. Worst case scenario, I'm thinking 150. I don't see how they can get 200 games out of one guy
yeah.
I mean, this is technically his first positive, and to be honest, it wasn't a test, but this is the first time they found him guilty.
Right.
He has admitted it before.
But we don't know what kind of evidence they have on him either.
Well,
they haven't made that public.
But what kind of evidence do you need? If you're guilty, if they go out and test, let's say somebody off the Cardinals, right? Let's say they test Molina right now.
I would test all the Cardinals right now.
Absolutely. I test all the Braves right now. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Dan Uggla, look at that guy. He looks like Popeye. But let's say you test a guy right now, and he's found to be positive. He gets 50 games.
Right.
It's not negotiated anymore after that. They're not saying, we're going to suspend you for 150 and then bring it back to that. It's 50 games. That's what the contract says.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I'm saying they're going to an arbitrator, and I don't blame him one bit. Why would you sit there and take that? You're talking about losing basically almost 2 years worth of games. So
and he's no spring chicken.
No.
He was 38 or 39?
39, I believe, yeah.
Okay. So he sets out a year. That's 40.
Yeah.
And then what kind of game shape is he going to be in? Yeah, he'll play some independent leagues and stuff like that. But, you come back.
He is. I mean, he is a freak of an athlete.
Yeah, he is. But
even at that, I've never seen an athlete get better after 35.
Right.
I don't. Well,
there you go.
Without the help, without help, because your body can't take it.
Right.
I mean, even playing third base or shortstop like he did, which is not, you don't get the pounding on the knees and stuff quite as much, still kills you. I mean, it still beats you up, and you're going to be getting hurt, and you're going to get weaker because your joints get weaker. So, that stuff, that helps you out quite a bit, and Barry Bonds proved it a few years back. So
yeah. Well, wrapping up the American League, we got Detroit leading the Central. They are 7 games up on the Cleveland Indians. They're up there in second. And the Chicago White Sox, 25 games behind. Record of 43-71.
Ouch.
That's horrible. And they just traded their big guy, Alex Rios. He went to the Rangers.
Yeah.
And
there's talks of their shortstop Ramirez possibly clearing waivers. There's a couple other guys as well. I mean, they're willing to break that team up.
Yeah,
so.
And they need to because, I mean, they're horrible. And, yeah. Well, Robin Ventura, his second year over there, thinking what did he get himself into? But,
yeah, they're
it is what it is. And,
just barely in front of Houston.
Yeah. Yeah.
So.
Yep. And in the West, you got Oakland and Texas tied up top there for that division. Texas, they're coming on strong right now.
Even with the loss of Nelly Cruz, which is unbelievable. That's just shows you what a team they have down there, and Ron Washington.
Right.
Fun to watch, man.
Right, they are. And then, he'll be back for the playoffs.
Yeah.
So that could be a big spark right there if they can keep, playing like they are and staying on top, in that division there. That's just a big spark towards the end. And the Los Angeles Angels, 13 games back, 10 games under 500. So,
he'll be back for the playoffs, and they, like you said, they just picked up Alex Rios,
right.
So it's a nice little addition, man, to come off the bench when you get to the playoffs. So, and to be honest, Rios is a much better defender than Nelson Cruz.
Right.
So a couple different ways to look at that too. That's going to be a big addition for them.
Well, Jake, we need to take a commercial break about 20 minutes after 9. We come back. We're going to have the chaplain Ryan Edgecombe here at Christian Village. He's going to be sitting in with us. We'll talk to him a little bit and get some of his baseball knowledge. I know he's a big baseball fan, so stay tuned. You're in the cheap seats, 96.3 WLCNonline.com. You had to wait for that intro.
Yeah, I don't know.
Can't cut that off.
I don't know if that's as strong as what I was hoping for Saturday.
That's pretty good though.
With the start of football season, I was really hoping for a little more enthusiasm.
Yeah.
Yes, encouragement.
Welcome back to the Cheap Seats. Scott Kirby, Jake Johnston, broadcasting live from Christian Village.
Wait a minute, we're live?
Yeah, this is live. There's no 7-second delay button here. You gotta watch what you say. We have Chaplain Ryan Edgecombe in with us today. Good morning.
Good morning.
And he's got we do have a free pizza to give away from Godfathers at Beck's, and he's got a trivia question he's going to give. Be the first caller with the answer to 737-3791, and you're going to win that free pizza. Go ahead.
Well, we're looking for the famous Cardinals pitcher in the 1930s, who later came back and announced for the St. Louis Cardinals.
And you said he wasn't a very good announcer.
Well, he was a wonderful announcer, but from the story, this is before my time, of course, but I've been told that his grammar was bad, and his mothers and parents would send letters to him and tell him to clean up his grammar for their kids.
Well,
he definitely.
Apparently, he'd fit on. And he would fit on this show wonderfully because our grammar's not very good either, and I'm sure they get all kinds of letters and notes on us.
Pathetic.
Yes, so
we are who we are.
Okay, yeah, be the first caller with that answer at 737-3791. Who was the pitcher for the St. Louis Cardinals back in the 30s and later became a broadcaster for them? And that's not a very difficult question if you're a Cardinal fan. Now, us Cub fans, we have no idea, nor do we care. But
the answer is not Ron Santo or Harry Carey.
No.
Who also
was a Cardinals announcer.
Yep, and Ron Santo, his grammar wasn't all that great either, but the people just loved him.
Well, Harry Carey's was a little blurred, I would say.
Too many Budweisers.
Hi.
Hey, what's his name spelled backwards?
Exactly.
He would have had a heck of a time these days with that.
Encarnaciones and all them around there. Yeah, good times.
All right, well, how long have you been at the Christian Village?
About 9 years now.
9 years. And tell us a little bit about the volunteer opportunities that are available here at the Christian Village.
Well, yeah, that's something that I'm involved with that I really enjoy. We have about 125 volunteers that donate about 500 hours a month to the Christian Village. And we have a lot of different opportunities. We have some projects that we could use help with. We have a courtyard down by the therapy gym. Actually, it's right outside this window from where we're at. And we need some landscaping work. We're going to have some landscaping work done with that. We'd like to get some raised planters so that the residents could be out there in their wheelchairs and they don't have to stoop down to work the ground.
Right.
It'll be right at their level, and then they can do a little occupational therapy that way, work the dirt, plant some flowers, some vegetables. So we're working on maybe a youth group, a civic group, a church group, or anybody at all that would like to help us with that. So that's a project we have coming up. We have quite a bit of fun activities here, and we can always use volunteers to help with those. Bingo's big around here.
Bingo?
And, just having a volunteer to help some of the residents play bingo is useful and very appreciative by the residents. We always need folks to visit residents. We have a group right now in Atlanta that's interested in coming and doing like an oral history project with us where they would interview a resident 5 to 6 different sessions and then type out like a life history of that resident. And that would be a great gift. I think, I know I'd give, my grandfather died in 2006 at 95 years old. I'd almost cut off my right hand if I could have him back for one day.
Right.
And interview him, type out all that, get his life story, because now he's gone. I can't ask him those questions anymore.
Right. And
so that's one of the best gifts you could give to a family, I think, is getting a life history of your loved one. So
yeah, absolutely. And okay, you have it's a caregivers together. Is that a group out here or something?
Yeah, that's something we've been starting. I think we're on our 3rd or 4th month. Caregivers Together. It's a support group just to reach out to anyone in the community who provides care to a loved one. I would say that being a caregiver is a very high calling. So we're honoring God when we're caregiving for a loved one. We have the opportunity to be the hands and feet of Christ in that. So we want to encourage our community caregivers. We also know that it can be very stressful, that when you're a caregiver, you're really giving of yourself. You're very much sacrificing part of yourself for your loved one. So you need support, because it can be very, it can just be taxing.
Okay.
So we've had about 3 or 4 months of that, and it's been good.
Okay. Well, we have a caller right now. See if they have an answer to your question. Go ahead, caller.
How about Dizzy Dean?
You got it.
All
Dizzy
right.
Dean, winner. Are you a Cardinal fan?
Yes, sir.
So did you know that answer, or did you have to Google it?
I knew it.
Oh, you knew. And who are we talking with?
Ron Clockengay.
Okay. What was the first
Ron?
one? Ron?
Yes.
Okay, Ron
Hey.
Clockengay. Hey, well, you want a free pizza, any large pizza up to 4 toppings at Godfather's, and that's out at Beck's Plaza. You can pick up this coupon at Jake's Furnishings anytime after, anytime today, and then whenever.
Yeah,
So
through the week, 10 to 6.
congratulations, Ron, and I'm sure you'll be watching the Cards and the Cubs tonight as the Cubs take the second game of the series.
Who said that?
He's just wrong, right?
I am wrong.
Hey, I wanna brag on my friend Ron Clockengay. He comes here every Sunday, him and his wife Vicky, and they help us out here with church every Sunday.
Very
All right.
nice.
Well, thanks for calling in, Ron, and congratulations on the free pizza win.
Okay, thank you.
You betcha. That's Ron Clockengay with the correct answer, Dizzy Dean. And yeah, he was a heck of a pitcher, wasn't he?
Oh yeah, him and his brother. Between the two of them, I thought they won 50 games in one season. But
Yeah.
Dizzy and Daffy Dean.
How do they get? Well, surely that's not their real names, or their parents just.
Yeah,
really
it might have been Paul. I think Daffy's was Paul. I don't know what Dizzy's real name
How do you
was.
get the name Dizzy and Daffy? Do you know that, Jake? Dizzy
yeah.
Dean. How do you get that name? That should be another trivia
You
question.
just name them. It's pretty simple. You write it on a piece of paper and it's done.
Dizzy.
Surely you have a nickname you'd like your listening audience to know about.
Well, we can't say these over the airways.
No, we get in trouble.
Yes, we would get booted off. But okay, what do you enjoy about working out here? I know probably a lot of interaction with the the people here.
Mhm.
But what do you? I mean,
Well, I really feel like I've been called to this work. I enjoy working with older people. And one of the things I really enjoy about it is you can highlight and encourage the residents to know that God still has a purpose for them every day, that God's using them, and even though their health is more of a, they're more challenged by their health in this stage of their life, this is not a place where people just go to die. This is a place where people not just survive, but they live, and they make they have new relationships, they make new friends, they contribute to the community, they laugh with their neighbors, they cry with their neighbors, they're here to listen, to be a listening ear, or a prayer warrior for their neighbors. So that's my message here, that this is not a facility, it's a community, it's a family, and each member of this community is irreplaceable. It's like one big jigsaw puzzle, and each piece fits, and it's the only piece that will fit there. So that's what I really appreciate about working here, that in many ways we're able to be a family, a community that honors God on a daily basis. So I'm glad to be here. It's a good place.
Good deal. And okay, you're talking about all the volunteers that you need. How can they contact you in order to sign up for some of these volunteer needs that you guys need?
The best way, they could call the regular number for the nursing home, which you've mentioned before. It's 732-2189, or they can get a hold of me directly if they call 732-5025. 732-5025. That'll go right to my phone in my office here.
Okay. All right, that's 732-5025. Get a hold of Chaplain Ryan Edgecombe here at the Christian Village and sign up for some of these volunteer necessities that they need to, keep this place running and, keep the residents here occupied and, stuff for them to do. Well, thanks for coming in. We appreciate you having us.
Glad to be here.
Yeah, and you'll be watching the game tonight. And you mentioned something, you might be going to the game here in a couple of weeks where they're playing the Pirates.
Yeah, in a couple of weeks we're going to St. Louis. I think they're playing the Pirates that day, and then we're going to the Chiefs to see the Peoria Chiefs this coming weekend. We have some friends coming from Minnesota.
Yeah.
And the Chiefs are playing the minor league affiliate of the Twins,
okay,
which is it's in Iowa. I think it's the Colonels. So
yeah.
we're gonna root for I'm gonna root for the Chiefs, and my buddy's gonna root for the Colonels.
Okay, well, good deal. All right, well, thanks for coming in. We're gonna have to take another commercial break, so stay tuned. You're in the cheap seats, 96.3 WLCNonline.com.